What's going on, everybody? You're watching Straight Facts with Ritchie and Ciro. I'm sure my boy.
Richie.
Now let's get straight into the facts. Kick it off for us, Richie.
All right, so before we get into the NBA portion, we're starting off with the NFL news. And Ciro, how do you feel about this Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster situation?
All right, so this is how I look at it. At the end of the day, Antonio Brown's going to do his thing. He's counting his blessings. He's doing what he has to do. But him posting this, it's wrong, for one.
It makes him look like a baby.
And it makes
really
him,
does.
I mean, of course, obviously we know Antonio Brown. He's the man. The best receiver in the NFL. He's going to do his thing, no matter what. We know this. But he's always had that
But he should just move
awful
on.
Characteristic. And to make fun of somebody like that, to say, hey, you blew it. Go back to 2011 when you blew it.
And then when
on the return, on the punt return, you blew it. You killed. You ruined the game. So if you're going to come in bringing up that situation where in a playoff game, this, that, and the other, don't say that. Juju's never disrespected you.
Yeah, and then he posted a picture on Instagram of Juju Smith-Schuster when he was back at USC. It just made Schuster look even like a better guy.
Even more of a nice guy. So, and this is what my input on it is. Antonio Brown's going to do his thing. We know this.
Yeah.
But this just gives Juju that feel because he's already, I already said before, Juju's doing his thing this year. He's going to be the best receiver.
And they might use this as motivation, the Steelers.
Absolutely.
James Conner, Ben
and we'll talk about that, too,
Schuster.
with the James Conner text that was actually positive between him and Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
But this whole thing is just awful for Juju because he doesn't need this. But this is it's gonna be that motivation because I already predict that he's going to be a top 5 receiver. Him and Devontae Adams are going to be the young receivers that are going to take over the NFL and potentially be the best receivers in the league for sure.
And I think Antonio Brown should just move on from the situation.
It's stupid.
Like, you're in Oakland, he's in Pittsburgh. You know, do what you have to do in your career, and that's it. That's just
you're getting money still on the rookie contract.
Yeah, it's just
it's ridiculous.
Just move on from
it.
it.
Don't be a jerk about it.
Yeah, I know. Heading over to the next one now, defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence signing a 5-year, $105 million deal with the Cowboys. Now, in 5 years, he's had 200 combined tackles, 48 tackles for loss, and is a 2017 and 2018 Pro Bowler.
So Lawrence is a solid player for sure, and of course, it's good to have that deal for you because I mean somebody who's always been there, just keep him. That's really all it is. Like with re-signs on minor players that are actually, I mean, I wouldn't call Lawrence minor. He's up there for sure. But on re-signs like that, it's just as simple as they need it, so it happened.
Right. And their defense is really solid, so that's perfect to lock him up for 5 years.
Absolutely.
Heading over to the next one now, the Giants extend Sterling Shepard, not Odell.
Look what you did there.
That was jokes. Giants fans are mad right now.
They're punching air right now.
Right. A 4-year, $41 million deal with the Giants, and he's played well in his 3 years with New York.
On and off for sure.
And 190 receptions, 2,286 yards, and 14 touchdowns.
And as I mentioned, it was an on and off 3 years, but when he's playing very well, he was playing incredible for the start of his career. Kind of met some decline, but still really solid. As well as, for a while there were talks of him meeting with like the Patriots and other teams like that. So that was big.
I would have liked him on the Patriots.
Absolutely.
We need all the help we
Brady
can get
would kill it with him.
For the receiving corps.
All I'm saying is solid re-sign for sure.
Yep. Heading over to the Patriots news now. Stephen Gostkowski signing a 2-year, $8.5 million deal to return to New England. So,
yeah, for the brand, for sure.
I don't know how happy. I don't know how happy I am about that because he's kind of struggled in the Super Bowls. Lately, and you know, he had trouble in that Falcons one. He had trouble in the Rams one. He was able to hit a field goal or two, but I don't know how I really feel about it. Like I wasn't gonna be mad if he signed with somebody else.
Nowhere near anything Vinatieri would do for the Patriots.
But he's been very consistent.
So good.
He's been very consistent.
He's so good. I mean, he might miss a couple PATs, but Gostkowski's the guy. I mean, I'm a huge special teams guy. I'm the guy when it comes to special teams. If you want to know about it, I got you. I mean, Pat McAfee's one of my favorite players of all time, let alone like special teams. So since for the past 2 years, all I've been doing is watching his podcasts and stuff. So I think for sure though that it's needed to re-sign a guy like Gostkowski. Because you break it down, he kicks the field goals when need to. The PATs, which is ridiculous, he does miss those. I don't know why. I mean, the biggest standpoint was the AFC Championship against the Broncos. He blew the game because he couldn't make a single PAT.
Right.
But overall, I like the deal, and it's needed for the Patriots. Because who else would they have? Who else would they go for?
I don't know. Billy Contive? Maybe that. I don't know. But some more Patriots news right now. Tight end Austin Severian-Jenkins signing a 1-year deal with the Pats. In his 5 years, he has 116 catches, 1,160 yards, and 11 touchdowns. He's been with 3 different teams, but the Patriots need him. Dwayne Allen, you know, He went with the Dolphins to win 2 games a year. Rob Gronkowski retired, so we definitely need the help.
No, Jenkins is a solid tight end. I mean, back when the Bucs, that was probably his best. I mean, he was on the Jets for a while, correct? And then he went to the Jags. And
that was most recently with the Jaguars.
He was with the Jags last year. But, I mean, since what I'm saying is his first years with the Bucs were his best years, so hopefully plays with the GOAT, wins a ring, plays better. Never know.
And the final bit of news now for the NFL, wide receiver Demaryius Thomas and running back T.J. Yeldon, who are both free agents, met with the Patriots on Tuesday.
Now, I'm staying if I'm Thomas, but hey, you never know what's going to happen. But go to the Patriots.
And win a ring.
You definitely have a debt. I mean, but the
thing is, you definitely have more of a chance than if you're on the Texans. That's not even a shot. That's just being.
Most players, straight facts. Most players will actually look at it like this, though. I'm not gonna take the easy route to play with the Patriots. I'm gonna get some money, really.
And he is coming off a torn Achilles as well, so that's
for sure.
That's tough.
I mean, he was sidelined. He was sidelined for sure.
Right. And now heading over to the NCAA Men's National Championship game, and it was Virginia winning their first national championship as they beat the Texas Tech Red Raiders 85-77 in overtime. DeAndre Hunter hit that huge 3 to send the game into OT. He ended the game with 27 points and 9 rebounds. Kyle Guy with 24 points on 8 of 15 shooting from the field, and he won the NCAA Final Four Most Outstanding Player.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely excelled when it came to the last 2 games of his NCAA career. And, well, actually the season, because we don't know yet.
Right.
But Kyle Guy, for sure, I mean, I don't think he's going to go far in the draft if he does go.
No.
I mean, it's just not how it works. DiVincenzo got lucky to even be top 20, for being completely honest here. I mean, because he had that
great tournament run. That was
absolutely.
it. No one was really talking
Nobody
about him.
cared about DiVincenzo before then. Same with Wagner. Nobody was talking. I mean, people still aren't talking about Wagner. But
Wagner's
for sure, he is.
He was balling with the Lakers late in the season.
No, he was. But that's all I really get at. Like, when it comes to the draft, Kyle Guy isn't. But Hunter, he's been the whole season up there. But Culliver is someone who actually is projected to go to the Hawks.
And he had a rough game, too.
He looked awful in the paint.
Yeah,
what was his field goal?
5 of 22 from the field, and he missed all 6 of his 3-point shots, ending the game with 15 points. In the last 3 games, he really hasn't played well. In the Elite Eight, the Final Four, and now the National Championship.
I mean, he was just getting carried by
really hasn't performed.
And Texas Tech as a whole was playing well, except that game. I mean, that game was boring. The first 10 minutes, the score was like, 2-4?
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
And was it Schefter that tweeted? He was like, I think he said, with the tempo going like this, we're going to be seeing 5 overtimes or something stupid like that. And, but he said it just as what I expected. I mean, the game was not good at first, but the last 10 minutes were great for sure. They looked
and then, of course, the overtime. Virginia took over in that. And another reason why they took over was their great free throw shooting. They made 20 out of 23 free throw attempts. Yep. Kyle Guy, even Ty Jerome, who didn't particularly shoot the ball that well from the field, he was able to make some big free throws. In Virginia, it's kind of been the trend for them, winning these tight games. They beat Purdue in overtime in the Elite Eight, and then they beat Auburn by 1 in the Final Four, and now they win in overtime by 8 against Texas Tech.
I mean, the Texas Tech game was just it was unexpected to be that much in overtime. People don't see that in overtime that much.
Right. And now we head over to our Tuesday NBA recap. It was the Hornets over the Cavaliers, 124-97, and the Hornets at that time were able to keep their playoff hopes alive, as Kemba Walker had 23 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. Jeremy Lamb added 23 points in the victory, but unfortunately, we saw on Wednesday that their season was over. We'll get to that a little later on.
We know what happened if you know, with the Hornets. Sadly, I wanted
to see the Hornets.
I wanted to see top 5 point guard bring his team to.
You're right.
To it, but Kemba the GOAT. We all know that. But it's a tough game. That I'm talking about the game of basketball, of course. I know like that game they won. But really, just like that's the whole thing with basketball. When it comes to those last 3 games, that's what stinks the most. Even if you win the last 3 in tough competitions like that, you gotta pray that 5 other teams lose or win.
Exactly.
And that's why it stinks. I mean, that even happened last year too. So that's even the Eastern Conference. I've never seen the Eastern Conference this close. 3 teams fighting for an 8 seed spot, and neither of the teams that were fighting for them actually ended up being the 8 seed.
Right, it's been really fun to watch Tuesday and Wednesday. Plenty of action.
Magic, Heat, Hornets, and Nets. Those teams right there.
None of the 3 teams that I want. I wanted the Hornets to make it, and then if the Hornets didn't make it, I wanted the Heat.
Magic, Pistons.
I didn't want the Pistons.
Who cares about
Come on.
We all know that Blake Griffin's balling out. That's it. All right, next.
And heading over to that Pistons game, they beat the Grizzlies 100-93, trailed by as much as 21 in the second quarter, trailed by 19 at the half, and it was really Detroit's bench coming through. Ish Smith had 22 points, 4 assists. Andre Drummond had a huge game, 20 points, 17 rebounds, 5 steals, 3 block shots, and they won that fourth quarter 36-14.
Yeah, a game like this, I wanted the Hornets to make it to the playoffs, so
right.
Obviously I wanted the Pistons to lose. Even though I'm a huge Blake Griffin guy, I always have been, but of course beating a team like the Grizzlies, it's really not that much to brag about.
And plus Mike Conley and Jonas Valanciunas did not play in this
kind
game
of the
either,
Grizzlies.
so I mean that win is expected.
7 points. Come on now.
And heading over to the next one now, the Heat over the 76ers, 122-99. Dwayne Wade playing his final home game of his 16-year career.
Dwayne.
Yeah, it was tough.
Wade!
But 30 points for him. He went 10-23 from the field. As for Philadelphia, they didn't play much. Ben Simmons only played 21 minutes. Butler 16. Tobias Harris 20, and Joel Embiid did not even play. But even with the victory, the Heat got knocked out of playoff contention because of the victories from the Hornets and the Pistons.
So, I mean, wins like this obviously don't matter the last 2 games, really. So we don't have that much to really elaborate on just because of these guys not really, the game's not mattering. And, of course, the Sixers, they didn't really play their stars. So that win wasn't really worthy. But give us a week, and we'll be talking about games that we love. And, I mean, there'll be some really good series for sure.
Right. Heading over to the next game, and it had no playoff implications at all, but it was the Mavericks over the Suns, 120-109, and Dirk Nowitzki playing his final home game of his 21-year career. He had 30 points on 31 shots. Kobe Bryant would have been proud. Luka Doncic with the triple-double as he had 21 points, 16 rebounds, and 11 assists.
Well, of course, I mean, I love seeing Dirk do what he had to do last home game, or last game, really.
No, last home game.
Yep. And that was, I watched this. I didn't watch last night's game, but I watched this, and it was solid. I mean, of course, kind of teared up a little on that speech, but you love to see it, for sure.
But also Jamal Crawford, he had 51 points. He is the oldest player to score at least 50 points. He's 39 years old, and he's the first player to score 50 or more points with 4 different teams. And also his shooting numbers were great. 18 of 30 from the field, 7 of 13 from behind the three-point line.
I kept making the joke since he got the flat top, he sucked this year, but...
Well, he hasn't really played much either. The younger guys have been playing a lot more. But
you know what?
He had a huge game.
You know what makes me a little mad? They decide to play they decide to play Jamal, but they don't play Jimmer?
I know, right? This man's dropping 36 a game in China.
Play Jimmer.
Exactly.
The least you could do is put him in for more than 5 minutes.
I know.
Crazy.
But heading over to the next one now, the Jazz over the Nuggets, 118-108. Donovan Mitchell with a huge performance.
He's a bucket.
46 points, 5 of 8 from behind the three-point line, 13 of 16 from the free throw line. As for Denver, Nikola Jokic fouled out in 16 minutes. That is really quick.
Rigged.
Is that a record?
That's gotta be.
That might be a record.
I
think.
Be up there. Okay, I'm pretty sure Rodman has
Dennis Rodman's probably up there.
Up there for ejected for in 5 minutes. But I don't know about fouling out. That could
That's ridiculous.
Boogie 13, right? Or was it?
Did he go out that fast?
Wasn't it? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. We gotta look this up though.
That's crazy. Now that I'm thinking, you got me thinking about
6 fouls in 16 minutes. You just said.
Alright,
you said I don't want to play anymore.
Foul.
Here, you can have it.
You can have it. No,
I'm tired.
It's talking about the end of the NBA season is so sloppy because there's just not much to talk about.
And it's just these wild numbers like Jamal Crawford putting 51. Up 51.
It was like Kobe's 60 game.
Yeah. And heading over to our next one now, the Thunder over the Rockets, 113-112. Paul George hitting that game-winning three-point shot with 1.8 seconds left. He had 27 points. Russell Westbrook with another triple-double, 29 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. And your favorite player, James Harden, 39 points, which was a game high. But he missed the three-pointer at the buzzer, and he missed the free throw with 9.4 seconds left. That would have put his team up by 3 at that point. And that was the only free throw shot he missed in 13 attempts.
My boy James Harden, eh? Nah, but this game right here, it was pretty fun to watch. Mm-hmm. George did his thing as always, and Westbrook did his thing as always, and those two right there. And honestly, are we gonna talk about the whole overrated situation?
Oh, that's ridiculous.
How
is he overrated?
You don't even. The's more than just saying
understand.
how do you average a triple double 3 years in a row and be overrated. It's more than that. A player that has not only been an all-star his whole career, he won an MVP. You can't be overrated and win an MVP. The closest thing to having an overrated MVP season is Steve Nash's season, but people got to realize the NBA looked at it like, wait a minute, Steve Nash just brought the worst team in the NBA to playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
He averaged a double-double off of incredible passes. He changed the game of passing. But what I'm saying is, you can't be an MVP and overrated.
And also, like, I understand he's not shooting the ball that well, and people talk about him stat padding. But
he doesn't stat pad.
He does stat pad a little bit. I got it.
2 years ago, we stat padded.
With the rebounds he does.
All right, but 2 years ago we stat padded. But this year he doesn't stat pad because this team's winning. The definition of stat padding is only caring about your stats.
But if you look at the games when he records a triple-double, they win. So they translate into wins. You can call it stat padding, but it works.
No, like,
or call it whatever you want.
If you're gonna stat pad,
it's working out for him and the Thunder.
Like last year, he stat padded. I hated him. I hated his play last year. I even told you about this. I said that he stat pads and he just worries about this. But this year, he realized, wait a minute, Paul George, he scores better than me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's work around that.
He has more talent. Like Jeremy Grant, he's been a
little
lot better.
But not even that.
Ferguson can hit the three.
Adams can.
Steven Adams just throws it up to him in the paint for the alley oop, and the bench
even
is
off
a
the
little
bench.
better as well.
Schroeder's playing great off the bench. I mean, Patterson's not what they wanted. Morris isn't really what they wanted. But Diallo, he's just.
Yeah, he hasn't played much.
He hasn't. I mean, yeah, he's playing pretty decent, really. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that whole team, it's solid. It's a good team, and it can go far. But what I'm saying is, you can't stat pad and pull what they're doing off. I mean, they're playing great. They're playing incredible, actually, and really, it annoys me to even hear that they're stat padding.
And heading over to the next, it was the Thunder over the Bucks last night on Wednesday, April 10th, 127-116. Now, Milwaukee did not play any of their starting five, but the Thunder were trying to clinch a 6th seed, and that is exactly what they did. Yep. Paul George was out due to a shoulder injury, but Russell Westbrook recorded his 34th triple-double of the season, 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. Dennis Schroeder with 32 points. Jeremy Grant added 28 points and 5 boards in the victory.
And hey, can you tell me what the Thunder did when Westbrook dropped the triple-double? Oh, they won once again.
Exactly.
So, I can't let that go. You can't be overrated and do this type of stuff.
But they also said Draymond Green is overrated.
Okay.
But that is true.
I'm going to argue this with you, okay?
At least for this season.
I'm going to argue this with you, alright? He's not getting talked about this season. That's not overrated. You can't be overrated if nobody talks about you. Draymond Green last year, not overrated. 2 years ago, not overrated. Mm-hmm. He gets the attention he deserves because he's more than 10 and 10 or 8, 7 and 6.
He's not a stat guy. He's kind of like a Marcus Smart.
Exactly.
When he plays,
he's a floor general.
Does not show up on the stat sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. There's several players like that. What they do doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Kent Bazemore, what he doesn't do doesn't show up on the stat sheet. But
because he does nothing.
Because he does nothing other than steal the ball a couple times.
Right.
No, but seriously, you can't. I don't really see Green as overrated, really, because nobody's talking about him that much. The only thing that you talk about is how awful the team was treating him this year. Right. And if I'm Green, I'm leaving because I was down on my knees in pain and in front of my coach and my trainer, signalizing that I need some type of help. And they're like this.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. And even Kerr said that he can't stand Green. I'm leaving if I'm Green because I deserve more than that. I might be a jerk or.
Do you think he deserves the max contract? I think a team's
a certain team, not the Warriors.
But
no.
I don't think he deserves it from.
I do.
But
name a team and I'll tell you.
He's gonna get it though.
Yeah, no.
Because compared to all these other bench players, what they get, he's definitely gonna get something.
See, a team like the Kings offers him he could get it from them.
He'll definitely get
it. If I'm the Kings, I'm not giving him a max contract if I'm the Hawks because there's no room for him on my team. He's 6'6", 6'7", because there's a picture of him compared to Klay Thompson, and Thompson towers over him. And Thompson's 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
He doesn't fit on our rotation, and I'm not moving him to small forward because he's so big, but I'm not starting him over John Collins, but I'm not moving Collins to the 5 because Collins is 6'10", 6'11", so that's not going to work. So I wouldn't want him, but just the discussion is really the whole, I think he can get a max contract for sure. Because we don't know Westbrook's going to get a max contract. You can't be overrated to get a max contract.
It's just ridiculous.
Unless you're, drunk and give, Chandler Parsons a 3-year, $148 million contract.
Let's not talk about that. That's tough. But let's talk about the Hawks, who unfortunately ended their season on not the greatest note, losing to the Pacers 135-134. And with 0.3 of a second left, DeAndre Bembry fouling Edmund Sumner in the corner.
Who?
And he shot 46% for the free throw line this season, but he made all 3 of the free throws right there. Ended the game with 22 points. Tyreek Evans had 27. TJ Leaf with 28. As for Atlanta, Trae Young.
Collins, though.
We'll get to Collins in a second. Trae Young had 23 points, but he was only 6 of 18 from the field. He did have 11 assists, though. And for John Collins, as you talked about, a career high in rebounds was 26. And he also had 20 points.
Yeah. Not much to say about that. I mean, he is so incredible. Mm-hmm. And we know Trae Young and John Collins next year. They're going to be the best duo.
With R.J. Barrett, best trio.
And R.J.
Best
Barrett.
Trio.
And we're going to pick up, we're just going to pick up somebody. Don't sleep on it. Vucevic.
If you can get some kind of small forward, like a Jimmy Butler.
If we draft RJ, then we're set, for sure.
Right.
If we get RJ, then we're set. Really, any all-star on our team, if we can bring one all-star, I want Vucevic or some type of center, then we're set for sure.
Exactly.
Like 100%. And, I think that we're looking for a better season, really, overall.
Heading over to the next game now, the Nets over the Heat, 113-94. D'Angelo Russell only playing 20 minutes in the start, but he had 21 points, knocking down 7 3-pointers and 11 attempts. As for Miami, Dwayne Wade playing the final game of his career. He had 25 points, took quite a few shots, 10 of 28 from the field, but he had a triple-double as he pulled in 11 rebounds and dropped 10 dimes. And for Brooklyn, they were able to clinch the 6th seed with this victory, and this is their first playoff appearance since 2015.
If I'm being 100% honest with you, I'd rather have 25, 11, and 10 than 64 and 4. That's just that in my last.
Because it means you played a complete game. You didn't just
score.
You did
You didn't shoot 33% from the field goal, unlike Kobe.
Yeah.
You did what you had to do, and you administrated very well all around, and that's what Wade showcased right there.
Right.
I'm not saying Wade's better than Kobe, unlike somebody, but
that's just ridiculous.
We ain't gotta talk about that. But I think if I'm choosing out of the best 4 performances on the last game. Of course, Paul Pierce is 0-0-0. We're not going to talk about that. Because I still think that Pierce is better than Wade.
How is that not first?
You're right.
He's better
first,
than Kobe.
But I definitely go 24, 11, and 10 for sure. Over 64 and 4.
Heading over to the next game now, the Magic over the Hornets, 122-114. And as for Orlando, Terrence Ross with 35 points, knocked down 6 out of his 10 3-pointer shots. Aaron Gordon, 27.7 rebounds. And unfortunately for Charlotte, they got eliminated from the playoffs as the Pistons pick up the victory over the Knicks. And for Orlando, they clinched the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference, and this is their first playoff appearance in 7 years.
And I can't keep a straight face here on that.
7 years.
A team that went to the finals, destroyed the Lakers, and Spurs kind of gave them the work, but we don't got to talk about that. Now making their first appearance. But we always talk about this, man. Terrence Ross again putting up 30.
It's so weird. He's the weirdest bench player. He puts up these ridiculous scoring numbers. He shoots the ball well, then the next game he'll shoot
awful.
Horrible.
He'll
put up 6 points.
If he could go 30 one night and 15 the other night, he'd be averaging 19 points a game.
And he could be the best bench scorer
in the league.
In the NBA.
In the league, for sure. But he's so inconsistent. It's like sometimes he puts up Harden numbers, and then the other nights he puts up
Harden numbers. He puts up Harden numbers.
Yeah, he's like James Harden as a 50 overall in 2K.
Yeah.
That has max badges and stuff. But that's really what I gotta say about Terrence Ross. But this game was so funky. You
and
hate
as
to
for the
see
Hornets, can Kemba Walker get some help? He dropped 43 points and they still lost. That's just ridiculous.
I hate to see that because we love. If you don't know, Kemba's our guy. Kemba's one of our favorite players, and he's such a beast. If I'm Kemba, nah.
See ya. I'm not going back to Charlotte.
I'm going to Boston.
I don't want that max contract. I'll take him in Boston because Kyrie's going to New York.
Yeah. So.
Pistons over the Knicks, 115-89, as Detroit was able to clinch an 8th seed. This is their first playoff appearance since 2016. Reggie Jackson led the way with 21 points and 7 assists. Luke Kennard, 27 points, and Andre Drummond with another huge double-double, 20 points, 18
crazy.
boards.
Drummond once again going off on boards because you know what I always think of for Drummond. He's a high-tier Whiteside, but he can score. Unlike Whiteside. Whiteside will go 7 blocks and 30 rebounds, but Drummond's going to do that and add 25 points now.
Right.
We talked about how Griffin's limited. Then Drummond can do that, a 20-20 double-double.
Oh, he'll do that with ease when Blake Griffin's out.
When it's not playing. But when Griffin's playing, he's not doing that.
Yeah.
I already argued that with somebody. But for sure, I think that the Pistons will have So who do they end up playing in the playoffs?
The Pistons, so they have the 8th seeds. They'll be playing the Bucks, so it's 4-0 right there. In my opinion, I don't see Detroit whether because Blake Griffin's been out.
He's gonna be playing.
He's kind of been banged up.
Saturday he's gonna be playing.
But either way, with Blake Griffin in or out, the Bucks are sweeping them.
Not yet.
I don't think.
Honestly,
I don't think the Pistons have a shot of winning.
There's a limit though. Don't forget Brogdon.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget
That's
they don't
true.
have him, so they're gonna get one game in my books, at least one game. They're not getting more than 2, but I say they get one game because there's gonna be a game where they're gonna be like, oh god, we need Brogdon, because don't forget in playoffs everybody pops off out of nowhere because that's
kind of like Chris Middleton. He had a great series against the Celtics, even though they lost in 7 games.
I mean, he was having a good season overall too,
right?
For sure.
And heading over to the next one now, the Spurs over the Mavericks, 105-94, and LaMarcus Aldridge with a huge game, 34 points, 16 rebounds, shooting 15 of 21 from the field. But that wasn't really the big story. It was Dirk Nowitzki, who played the last game of his 21-year career, put up 20 points, 10 rebounds, shooting 8 of 21 from the field.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to watch this game for sure. I mean, just to see Dirk do his thing one last time. No, just a little discussion. Do you put him as the greatest international player of all time? Because I personally have Hakeem Olajuwon over him.
That's really tough. I mean, I guess...
Because I have Hakeem in my top 6.
If you're just saying offensively, I think Dirk has him beat. Because I'm not saying Hakeem wasn't a great offensive player.
He was, for sure.
Defensively, he was a monster.
Probably the greatest defender of all time.
But Dirk, I mean, he's the best international scorer of all time.
You could say that. I mean, but then there's the case of Ginobili, too.
What is he, 6th all-time scoring?
Yeah. You could also say Ginobili, too, as a top up there, too. Skip Bayless loves Ginobili.
Yeah, Skip Bayless had Manu Ginobili as a top 30 player.
Yeah.
I was like...
Sorry, he's like top 100.
Come on now.
No, like 150.
Right.
Like 150.
Top 30 is just way
maybe
too
even
high
200 now that I'm thinking about it. Because I can pull up guys like Dolph Shays and like Walt Frazier, all those guys that I could put over him. Like even from like the grave, all those guys that I put over Ginobili. Even if they were from back in the day, you could still put them over him for sure. But I would not put Ginobili top 30. But yeah, so Nowitzki is a top 10 scorer of all time when it comes to the points. I personally wouldn't say he's like a top 10 scorer.
I think he was top 5 in games played as well.
Yes, he is. And Dirk is probably number 1, maybe you could put it. But I love Hakeem, so I put Hakeem over.
It's really close.
International, for sure.
You go either way there. Heading over to the next one now, the Trailblazers over the Kings in a high-scoring match of 136-131. Anthony Simmons with 37 points, a career high, along with 6 rebounds and 9 assists. Skal Labissiere, 29 points, 15 rebounds.
He's back.
And Sacramento, they led by as much as 28 in the second quarter, led by 25 at the half, and I just don't know what happened right there. That was terrible.
Simmons times, okay.
And the other crazy thing was Portland, they only played 6 players in this one. They played 6 guys. With those 6 guys, they shot 58.2% from the field and 58.3% from behind the arc. That is really impressive.
So just to talk about Simmons real quick, I mean, he's a really special player coming out of high school and really somebody that I touched on about that I said, I mean, I believe that Jalen McHugh is doing the same thing, that he might be declaring for the draft.
Right.
Would be surprised, but hey, you look at it like this, right? Somebody who didn't get too many offers, which is crazy, deserves college offers, and then the team goes, hey, we'd like you on your team for the NBA. Play maybe 10 minutes a game and work your way up. I'm taking that for sure. And it's great exposure for him because I'd rather be exposed to the NBA than the NCAA if I have that opportunity.
Exactly. I'm going straight to the league. I'm getting my millions. I'm getting my millions
like
and thousands.
he was far from the best from that draft class.
Right.
Or, even from that high school class. I mean, that college class of this year. He far from it. But he did his thing. And a lot of colleges like to see what he performed, for sure.
And this was also a big victory for Portland because they clinched the 3rd seed in the Western Conference with this victory.
Without Nurkic.
Yeah.
Without Nurkic.
And I saw Portland maybe going a little bit farther, like they're going to be playing the Thunder. So, and I have the Thunder. I have the Thunder in 6 games.
Yeah.
But I don't
know.
I think Portland could have won that series if
Nurkic was in, they're winning. I had them going to the Western Conference and winning.
I probably had Portland in 6 rather than Oklahoma City in 6.
100%.
But heading over to the next
game. You didn't watch the injury yet?
Oh my god, never. I'm never watching.
He never watches injuries. I always tease him about it. He couldn't even watch Karis LeVert's injury.
Oh, Gordon Hayward's I saw. Gordon Hayward's wasn't even bad though.
He sits there.
It was bad.
He sits there. He's like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
That's crazy. But the last game of the night, it was the Nuggets over the Timberwolves, 99-95. Nikola Jokic, he didn't foul out. He had 29 points along with 14 rebounds, and Denver trailed 95-84 with 4:01 left in the fourth quarter, and with the victory, they clinch a 2 seed in the Western Conference.
So
a
yeah,
very good come-from-behind victory right there.
Huge win for sure. And like you said, come behind. Definitely what they want, how they wanted to end it. So on to the news.
NBA news here: the Clippers claim forward Ronnie McGruder off waivers.
Yeah, I mean McGruder had a really solid season last year with the. Well, not really.
I say
a solid season with the Heat is a decent season with the Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
But McGruder, he was limited this year, and actually Johnson was put over him after they kind of had, because Johnson didn't play for the first half. No. Same with Waiters, but they kind of cut McGruder. Was it start of the season they cut McGruder? Because I'm pretty sure
it just happened.
Just now, all right. Because I mean he wasn't playing either way. He wasn't playing. So he kind of, it's like he kind of got cut early on. That's what it felt like. Because I didn't see nothing. Because last year
he got off to a good start this season, and then he kind of fell out of the rotation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But for sure, it's a good pickup. Playoff run that nobody expected, and a team that is like that sob story, that underdog. I mean, they're not going anywhere. It'll be cool to watch them in the playoffs.
So more news now and more Lakers. More Lakers drama though, as Magic Johnson steps down as president of basketball operations.
Oh my God!
What do you have to say about this, Sarah? How do you feel about this?
I mean, if he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to be there. Nothing much. He didn't do too well this year. I
just can't believe he wouldn't tell Jeannie Buss about it. Like
he just leaves.
He said I couldn't tell her. I would have cried, and then she would have said, "Come back," and I would have come back. It's just.
Like, what are you, 5?
I just don't like the way he handled this
situation.
You're
a whole businessman.
Like, I get it. If you're going to resign, you're going to retire. That's fine with me.
No, just left.
If you don't feel comfortable with
it.
Dip. And I also think he thought it was going to work out a lot better than it did. Yeah. Obviously, with the plenty of injuries the Lakers had, it didn't work out. You know, I'm sure he was thinking, oh, we got LeBron James. We're definitely making the playoffs. And that obviously didn't happen due to all the injuries and all the drama that went on, the Anthony Davis saga. And heading over to Anthony Davis, he showed up pregame wearing a "That's All, Folks," and most likely his final Pelicans game. And this is kind of like another Antonio Brown thing where it's like, you just got to grow up.
Like, literally, AD's my guy. We all know this. Mm-hmm. I think that when he plays 82 games in the NBA season, he's the best player in the league.
He's one of the best, definitely.
That's just my thing. I'm one of the biggest AD fans you'll meet. I'm a huge AD guy, but these past few years, he's been a crybaby. And it's annoying because he's better than that. He needs to wake up and realize that, listen, dude, not all the best players are going to, like, guys like Barkley, they weren't the most mature, but they were way better than how Anthony Davis treated it.
Right.
They're like, you know what, I'm playing the game of basketball, okay? I might not be winning, but I'm not going to ditch my hometown.
But why is he acting like this? He's the one who requested the trade.
Yeah.
Why are you acting like they were trying to trade you beforehand without you asking?
That's all, folks. Like, they're not trading you. I hope they don't trade you.
He's acting like the Pelicans did something wrong. It's like,
no.
You just got to grow up.
The only thing that the Pelicans did wrong was Dell Demps getting the whole Lakers team in front of him, and he didn't do nothing with it.
Yeah, he should have taken that.
I would have taken that in a New York second. Like, that's crazy.
But tough news for the Boston Celtics, and this is really bad because Marcus Smart suffered a torn oblique on his left side, and is going to sideline him for the next 4 to 6 weeks. So that's two.
Make it out the first
rounds of playoffs.
Make it out the second round, and hope for him to not be.
Because the Pacers, I'm saying we're going to beat the Pacers in 6 games.
7. I have it in 7.
It could be 7, but I think we'll be able to take the Pacers because they don't have great depth, and we have a much better team in my opinion.
I mean, their 6 man is good enough for them.
Right.
I mean, if Evans can do something and not be a bum, then maybe.
I don't know about that, but that's really tough because Marcus Smart, as we were talking about earlier in the show, he's one of those guys.
When he's on the court, he's there.
It's just he doesn't put up crazy points. He's not a great 3-point shooter. Great rebounder, great passer, but he just dives in the crowd. He's a great defender. He knows when to make the big plays down the stretch, too.
For sure.
And the final bit of news now, David Yeager fired as Kings head coach, and this is their best season since 2006.
This is like a Dwayne Casey type scenario. It's like the Dwayne Casey type scenario. Coach of the year. Yeah. Brings the best record in the Eastern Conference. And he gets the boot.
And obviously the situation was a little different with Sacramento, but I mean
they were close.
Toronto had a much better team though than Sacramento.
Yeah, no,
and they have definitely improved as we've seen, best record since 2006.
Yeah,
so
I mean a huge improvement.
I don't really understand why
not in the
they
top
fired
5,
him right there.
The top 3 pick category for the first time in 30 years. It feels like
it just doesn't make much sense to me. I don't understand why.
Decided
to fire him.
Yeah, so that wraps it up for our NBA recap. Feels good to be talking back about the NBA, of course. Some funky type games. Jamal Crawford putting up 51, stuff you wouldn't expect. And, of course, Anthony Davis being a baby. And, once again, Kent Bazemore not filling out his stat sheet. We'll see you next time. This was Straight Facts with Ritchie and Ciro. Thank you.